Health is not just absence of disease, but it is a positive state of mind.
For me, one of the things I find helpful is to begin the day with meditation. So even when those winds come, I'll still be standing.
If you just get rid of stress, love is simply there with you.
There are few medicines that are more powerful, that are more healing than love.
So to me, the sign of health is exuberant joy and undying smile. We have never taught our people how to press the delete button in our computer.
Today, on the auspicious occasion of Vijayadashmi, we are delighted to welcome Vice Admiral Dr. Vivek H. Murthy, Surgeon General of the United States of America, for a fireside with Pujya Gurudev. Let's welcome Dr. Murthy with a warm round of applause to your home here in the International Art of Living Center. As the nation's top doctor, Dr. Vivek Murthy helps to advance the health and well-being of all Americans. Almost 1 in every 7 to 8 human beings on this planet Earth, almost 1 billion of us, are affected by some sort of mental disorder, and that is a very alarming situation. We are seeing this in adults, in women, in young children, in teenagers, and it is an epidemic almost that we need to address. So today's conversation will focus on mental well-being and on holistic health of us as a humanity. And to kick off the fireside chat, Pujya Gurudev, may I request you to say a few initial words?
We need to really look into this aspect that health is not just absence of disease, but it is a positive state of mind. In Sanskrit, the word for health is swasti. Swasti means one who is centered in oneself. Being natural and being happy is what your self is all about. If you are centered, you are happy, you are focused, you have a bigger context to life. When the context is missing, that's when anxiety pops up. Uncertainty causes anxiety, and the cause of uncertainty is lack of vision of life, what life is all about. So context to life is one thing. Second, if you have commitment in your life for some greater cause, for some bigger good of people, then the life force energy finds a direction to flow. Lack of it is confusion. Confusion can be overcome by commitment. And purposelessness in life can be overcome by context to life, seeing life from a bigger perspective. It's so amazing when we look at our own body. 13 trillion cells in our body. And so the ancient people knew about it. They said self is called Purusha. That is the one who is living in a city. Our body itself is a city. When you see this, and also the context of the universe, how many galaxies are there? Innumerable planets and galaxies, Milky Ways. This will take away the narrow-minded, self-centered, miserable attitude of the mind. Today, we see the youth swinging between aggression on one side and depression on the other side. So, combat these abnormalities, one has to be centered, and that is the real definition of health, swasti. If you happen to go to Bali, small province of Indonesia, they greet each other saying, Om Swasti Rastu. May health be on you. So mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health is what swasti is all about. If you don't see a smile on the people you come across, know that they are not really healthy. So to me, the sign of health is exuberant joy and undying smile and enthusiasm in a human being.
With that, Dr. Murthy, may I invite you to make some opening remarks?
First, thank you so much for the extraordinary welcome and invitation to be here. Gurudev, thank you for hosting me here today and giving me the opportunity to be here with you. The topic that we are talking about today, mental health and well-being, is something that I believe is important to all of us, especially now. I trained as a doctor years ago, but when I was in medical school, I didn't learn very much about mental health or social health or spiritual health. Much of our focus was on physical health. But as I've cared for patients over the years, it has become so clear that these other dimensions of our health matter too. And if we don't support them, if we don't invest in them, then the well-being and the fulfillment that all of us seek will be hard to find. And what has been particularly worrisome to me have been the stories of young people in schools and universities who are often struggling with anxiety, with depression, and without a sense of self-worth. Many of us who have children may find this in our own homes. And so it's important for us to recognize and talk about more openly how we can support the mental health of each other, how we can support the social and spiritual health of our communities. The good news is that these are things that we can do. It is possible to support all these dimensions of our health. But it starts with being able to talk more openly about it. My hope is one day we can see mental health, as no less important than our physical health, and that we can invest in the social, spiritual health that are also vital for our well-being. I think finally, in order to do this, and do this well, we not only need to build stronger connections with each other, we not only need to engage more in service to one another, we not only need to build purpose into our lives, purpose that's grounded in contributing to our communities, but we also need to build our own foundation of self-worth and peace and centeredness. With information coming at us all the time, through our phones, through television, through the internet, it's hard to find peace in our days. And sometimes all of the noise in our lives can be overwhelming. And so we need something that helps ground us. We need a practice that we can turn to that helps quieten that noise and allow us in the stillness of our minds and our hearts to feel peace and to find our truth.
So, in a world full of likes, why are we lonelier than ever? With all this online connection, why do so many of us still feel disconnected? Could you talk about how we can build the aspect of service in life so that this feeling of being lonely, disconnected can go away? And how can we develop this presence muscle? How can we be more present?
Well, see, it's not difficult because it is already ingrained in our DNA, in our system is there. By nature, a mother cares for the child, and so does the child care for the mother too. So that sense of caring is already inbuilt in us. But that gets covered or it gets shrouded by stress. See, when a person is stressed or depressed, he doesn't even take care of himself or herself. The first thing is to teach them how to get rid of the stress. That's like, you have written something on the blackboard. You need to know how to dust that, how to erase it so that you can write again. We have never taught our people how to press the delete button in our computer. So this is like delete button. This is where breathing techniques, meditation all help you. Now, I usually say there is a formula to get depressed if you are not. You know what it is? Just sit and think only about yourself. What about me? What about me? What about me? You will get depressed. Instead of focusing on yourself all the time about what you want to get, if you start looking at how you can contribute, what you can give, it makes all the difference. Now, there are two types of joy. One joy is that when you get something, you are given a gift, you are given a compliment, you are happy. There is another joy which is mature and more greater joy is when you give to others. I tell young people, why don't you compliment others? When you compliment others, when you praise others, that praising makes others happy, that vibration doesn't stay with them only. It bounces back to you also. The praiser also becomes happy, not just the one who is praised. So, little tips in life to change that whole attitude of getting to contributing will make a huge difference. And we have seen this happening across the world in all the schools and colleges, wherever we have been teaching the programs.
What has happened in the last 10 to 20 years, especially with the growth and adoption of social media, has been that many of our relationships have shifted from in person to online. We've started to value the quantity of connections more than the quality of connections. But what really matters for us in terms of our social health are the quality of our relationships. These are relationships where you feel that you can be open and honest with somebody about how you are, where you know that you won't be judged. Relationships where you know that you're loved and you're accepted for who you are. Relationships where people would show up for you in a crisis and you would show up for them as well. But that requires refocusing on our in-person interactions. It also requires being more present with people when we're engaging with them. So many of us have had the experience of talking to a friend or a family member and realizing that their mind is only half there because they're on their phones. And we may have done that to other people as well. But when we can show up in person for others, when we can give them the benefit of our full attention by putting our devices away, that can help us build the kind of quality connections that we need. And finally, we can also build those connections by looking for ways to help other people. Doing one small thing each day to help somebody in your life, that act of service helps us build connection, the kind of connection that not only helps somebody else, but reminds us that we have value to bring to the world. This is really vital because what is happening is that our self-esteem is eroding as we struggle with loneliness. I say this as somebody who struggled with loneliness in my own life when I was younger. But I know that when you feel lonely for long periods of time, over time you can start to believe that you're lonely because it's your fault, because you're not likable, because you're not lovable. And the worse you feel about yourself, ironically, the harder it becomes to reach out to other people and form connections.
How do we stop treating mental health like a fire drill? And instead of waiting for a mental health crisis to happen and then firefighting for it.
Well, you're right that we tend, not just in mental health, but in health overall, we tend to respond once there's a problem. Right? And that's why we have invested so much more in treatment than in prevention. But we also have to ask, what are the root causes of the mental health challenges we're facing, and how do we address those? Because the increase in mental health problems we're seeing in society is happening to such a degree that it's hard to build up the capacity to treat fast enough unless we also work on the root causes. There are a number of things we can do to address these root causes, and they include everything from loneliness and isolation to unhealthy use of technology and social media, to trauma and violence that many people experience in their lives. But you asked what's one thing we can do when we start our day, when we wake up in the morning. And I'll just tell you, for me, one of the things I find helpful is to begin the day with meditation, with a breath meditation that grounds me. And I do this because I realize that often after a long day of work, and worrying about something for the children or something at home, when I go to bed, my mind is filled with ideas that are swirling. And I know that when I'm calm and my mind is clear, then I make better decisions. And I also feel more joy and less stress in life. And for me, meditation helps me find that peace. And it doesn't mean that I won't encounter stressful situations during the day, but it grounds me more deeply. It's almost the way I think of it is that if we're all trees, for example, and we have big branches that are being buffeted by winds that come at us as storms approach us in our life, problems, for example, meditation for me is a way to deepen my roots. So even when those winds come, I'll still be standing. I'll be able to weather it. Now, for different people, they may have a different practice that works for them. For some people, yoga, which is of course very related to meditation, is a practice that may be what they go to. For others, taking some time to read, whether it's scripture or something they find inspiring, may be a tool that they use. Whatever tool we reach for, it should be something that allows us to center ourselves, to feel a sense of peace, and perhaps even feel a sense of gratitude. I usually end my meditations by trying to think of one thing that I'm grateful for on this day. And it just reminds me that even when things are really hard, that there was something positive that I started my day with.
Gurudev, if I was to ask the same question to you, one tip for us every day to really not make it a crisis of mental health, but more preventive.
I would say three things. That is meditation, meditation, meditation. Morning, afternoon, evening. How many meals do you eat every day? Are you eating only one meal a day? No. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, in between snacks. Right? So at least two meditations, please. Scriptures, reading some scriptures about how the matter and spirit, they are together, yet they are different. This is what we need to see, how energy, that is the self, and then the prakriti, the nature, how they are complement each other, and how we can see both of them in their separate glory. Like a body has all the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and our spirit is only bliss, Satchidanand. To see this difference between these two aspects and how they go together. So the body and mind, they work on different principles. Like body works on effort. If you don't make effort, you can't build your muscles. But if you make effort to sleep, you can't sleep. Your mind works on effortlessness. So we need to see that you can't put an effort to love somebody. If you just get rid of stress, love is simply there with you. The sense of belongingness is there in you, inbuilt in you. Sometimes we need to assume things that they are there. If you think it's not there, that is also an assumption. If you think you are not capable, that is your assumption. But if you think you are capable, again, that you are coming close to the truth, you are a field of all possibilities.
Gurudev, you have been a proponent of also an integrative approach of medicine. Could you speak a little bit about how you see Ayurveda or an integrative approach to medicine help us address some of the root causes and overcome them?
Yes, Ayurveda talks about, well-being, of course. It says how the balance of the doshas in the body can impact your behavior. To correct your behavior, you have to attend to the doshas in the body. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So if you have too much Vata derangement in the body, then your behavior actually will be like that. And then your state of mind corresponds to that. And similarly, when the Pitta is high in you, then you just blow up. So you need to take care of the physical aspect of your emotions, that is through Ayurveda. Loneliness and this sort of isolation, feeling anxiety, cannot be seen through the eye of Ayurveda. Again, Ayurveda recommends meditation and breathing along with the herbs. Of course, it has a deep study for over so many years about various herbs and the combination, permutation combination of which improves one's state of mind and body. So it's a mind-body medicine. I would say Ayurveda. That's a buzzword today in the world, mind-body medicine. But this has been there in Ayurveda from the very beginning.
Thank you, Gurudev. We spoke about the youth, we spoke about communities. Let's move to workplaces, Dr. Murthy. So many of us here, today is a holiday, so it's a happy day. So, can every day be a happy day at work? Can work be stress free?
I'm so glad you asked because many people spend a third of their life at work. What we found recently in my office when we were researching the impact of the workplace on mental health was that in the United States, nearly 60% of people were saying that the workplace had a negative effect on their mental health. And I worry that in other countries as well, that many people may feel this way. Now, workplaces, if designed well, with the right programs, but the right culture as well, can be engines for mental health and well-being. They can actually help support us, help us feel better about our lives, and that can help not just our work, but also our life outside of work. And that's one of the reasons why in 2022, I had issued from my office a Surgeon General's advisory on workplace well-being that created 5 core essentials that we need to invest in our workplaces to support mental health. And those include creating workplaces that protect people from harm, also investing in connection and community, social connection and community. Third, creating work-life harmony, having protected time outside of work where an individual can recover and recuperate, be with their family, enjoy their life without worrying that they have to constantly be on call or checking their email or their text messages. The fourth dimension was mattering. Knowing that you matter and that your work matters is vital. So many people go to the workplace, they work hard but feel like their work is not valued, like it doesn't matter if they show up or not. And that is a recipe for negativity and for burnout. The fifth and final area is growth. Being able to be in a job where you can grow in whatever way is appropriate for you. Maybe that's you learn new skills or you develop the ability to contribute in an area even if it's not yours. I lastly say this, workplaces need to be human. And what I mean by that is that they have to treat people as more than just skill sets, but as human beings. We all want to be known as more than, Raj who's good at calculations, or Rajani who's good at pricing strategy. Those skills might be important in the workplace, but we're also mothers and fathers, sons and daughters. We may be friends who are going through a difficult time. We're community members who care about what's happening in our city or in our village. We all have human dimensions outside of our job. And when a workplace recognizes that, when they acknowledge the lives that we have outside, whether it's caring for our elderly parents or taking care of our children or managing other stresses, you don't have to solve all the problems that people have, but acknowledging their humanity can go a long way toward helping them feel supported and cared for in their workplace. Sometimes people might think, well, I really do need to solve everything, otherwise how can I really help somebody? And I'll just give you one example from my own experience. When I was training to be a doctor, my teachers told me, they said, hopefully most of the time you will have a treatment, a medicine, a procedure that can cure somebody's problem. But there are going to be many times where there isn't something that you can write a prescription for that's going to solve their problem. And in that moment, you need to remember that just because you can't fix their problem does not mean that you can't help them heal. Right? We help others to heal with our presence, with our heart, with our empathy, with our compassion. And I know sometimes in our world, or our very technical world, it can feel like that matters less than the medicines that we can prescribe. But I will say, as somebody who has written prescriptions for some very strong and powerful medications over the years, that there are few medicines that are more powerful, that are more healing than love. And we all have the power to give love to others, then that means that we all have the power to help heal.
Many times people come to meditation when medication doesn't work. But it's better they start meditation even before medication. That is one thing. And see, today, people work from home is a culture that has come up. So because workplace is so stressful, people say, well, we'll work from home. What they're doing is they're making everybody at home more stressed. So I have heard, housewives saying, oh, I don't know when my husband is working from home, goes to their office and does their job there. Because it's not the place actually, it is your own mind, it's on your attitude. If you can create in your workplace a better atmosphere, you can bring that to home also. But if you are shying away because the workplace is very hard to work, at home you will create even more disturbances. You see, in the COVID time when people were working from home, the divorce cases have tripled in the world. This is all an indication it is not in the place actually, it is right in the human mind. And mind cannot be handled by the mind only. You need to transcend the mind. See, that's one reason in all the traditions and cultures in the world, they play a lot of music. When you hear a lot of music or loud music, it somehow moves the energy in you, shifts the energy in you. And when energy is rising, then your mind quietens down. The big drums are being played so that at least for those moments, you stop thinking. And you start thinking negative. Music and art is a form to engage oneself from getting very lonely and all these challenges. Then service project, of course, people should take a service which makes them more purposeful. And in workplace, I always recommend people M&M, meals together and meditation together. Everyone share a meal together, meditate together. They create a different atmosphere at home. See, we are all just energy. Everybody is exuberating energy. We know by quantum physics that it's all just energy. And the ancient Vedantic philosophy also says the same thing. It says we are all just energy. And bringing harmony in the energy is what all these practices are. Making our energy more harmonious, more positive. And for this acceptance, compassion, service, we are doing the program called Har Ghar Dhyan, meditation to every home. It's not, those days are gone when people would run seeking for meditation, go somewhere. Now meditation has to go to every home. So with the government of India recognized this, and the home ministry said, because this need is so much to combat the mental health crisis, they said they have supporting this program called Har Ghar Dhyan, means meditation in every home. Because one person miserable in a home, having not good mental health, will disturb the entire family.
Gurudev, with yours and Dr. Murthy's permission, can we do a short rapid fire? Dr. Murthy, I will start with you, and we request one word or few words as answer. So you belong to this state, and coming to this state in the time of Dasera must be very special for you. So what is your favorite dessert?
Kesari Baat, my mother's version.
Gurudev, your favorite dessert?
Whatever I take it on the day on my plate, that I could like it.
So we learned, Dr. Murthy, that as a child you learned the mridangam. and also made concerts with your sister who is here with us. So, what is your favorite musical piece or bhajan? Or also, you co founded the Bhajan Club in Harvard.
Many, but one I'll name, his classical music piece is Krishna Ni Bega Ne Baro. That used to be part of our repertoire growing up.
Would you mind to hum it?
I don't think that anybody would appreciate that around here because I don't have a great voice. The voice belongs to my sister. I was on percussion, but she's the singer.
Gurudev, you play the veena. What is your favorite musical piece or
Listen,
musician?
Rajita, I would not do injustice to any raga, any song, because I would say everything is my favorite.
How would you define health?
Physical, mental, social and spiritual wellness. That is health. All those four components working together.
Gurudev, please, your
An
definition.
exuberant smile that doesn't die out.
How do you see the world today?
I see the world as full of promise, even though there are great hardships. I think in the hearts and minds and stories of people I meet all over the world, I see people who are working to make it better, who are caring for each other, who still have the deep love and compassion that we spoke about that are so vital to progress and to humanity. So that's what gives me hope.
Gurudev, how do you see the world today?
Lot of possibilities to become more happier and healthier.
Last question only to Dr. Murthy. As you are in this campus this evening, how would you describe being here?
Blissful. That's the word that I would use. If I could just add a couple of words on why, there's a deep sense of an energy here, I should say, that's very positive and uplifting. And I felt that from the moment that we drove in.
Beautiful. Thank you and your entire team, which has come from different parts of the US and India, for visiting us today on this beautiful, auspicious day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.